Virtual learning is a term heard so much this year, but we all know 2020 is anything but normal. Some trail riders might consider joining a local club. Chaga mushroom, or it's also a fungi, can benefit everyone, not just people with severe health conditions. Family Video has decided to close all remaining stores tomorrow. And today is one of those days where a nice winter coat isn't only comfortable, it's necessary. Aircraft's parts store you mentioned is right here in Rhinelander. Unfortunately, many students come from food insecure homes. In 2019, Wisconsin was the 4th largest maple syrup producing state in the U.S. One deputy chief that passed away a few years ago is now being honored. Taxpayers will get to have more time this year to complete their taxes. You can see it's pretty sturdy. All the community members that came out today to support the Hodegs tonight, make sure you check all 4 every time there's a significant temperature drop. You can always sign up to volunteer and spend a few hours with these little guys with the ski lift so that the hundreds of people who showed up today could have one last positive ride for 2020. However, everything you see here behind me will be included in the sale. Appearance in Oneida County Court today. He was arrested on Monday by his own employer. Right. The idea comes from Ulrich's years of experience in the newspaper industry. The structure that used to be behind me was not compliant with city ordinances, but a select few have septics, and they have to run a hose to keep their pipes from freezing. It's also one of the spots where the Up North Cryophiles group participates in water immersion. Gave away 300 doses of the Moderna coronavirus vaccine. Delta will no longer be the only airline like being around a lot of people, and you can do it safely. Ski kits, and there's donut kits where you can decorate them yourselves. You have to act like you're a part of nature, so be quiet and use your senses. Add a coach of some sort, whether it be for soccer, basketball, or debate club. I'm here to kind of ask you about some of the new trends you guys are seeing. Ended up getting most of them right and won the entire thing. Probably about at least 50 to 100 people were lined up. They're now inside, but I'm outside here with store manager. I was previously a track and field athlete, and let me tell you, those hallways are not ideal for the hurdles. Morning, Peter. That's right. I was outside the dome. Now I'm inside the dome, where I've already seen community members playing pickleball. 10 families are gathered here behind me in a socially distanced circle. No, 2020 is over. The Lights of the Northwoods is looking to bring the new year in with fireworks. It's a hobby that depends entirely on the weather, but this year had an earlier start.
This year started early. This year is one of the earliest years I've tapped in this area, but it's what makes the sap start to flow is the freezing at night and the above freezing during the day.
Todd Starling is an environmental educator at Trees for Tomorrow in Eagle River. He started tapping trees this week.
And it simply drips when the weather gets warm, and it collects the sap. I've got about 80 out here right now. So this little spout, the sap will drip out of it, collect in the bag, and then I'll come around and collect sap.
And it takes a lot of sap to make maple syrup. To make 1 gallon of maple syrup, it takes 40 gallons of sap. To get from sap to syrup, though, it needs to boil.
The boiling process? Well, it really depends on how much sap you have, but it takes hours and hours of boiling.
Luckily, Starling is resourceful and got creative with the boiling process.
I reclaimed this out of a dump. It was thrown away, and I made some modifications to it to make it into an evaporator.
After the tedious work it takes, to Starling, it's worth it.
It's fun to make maple syrup because you're making your own food, and you get to sit around a fire in the spring. It's usually the first real good backyard fire that I have is sitting around the evaporator.
It'll be 2 years, April 17th.
Almost 2 years ago, Kay Shooney and her husband Pete came to Rennes Health and Rehab Center in Rhinelander. There, they watched the coronavirus pandemic unfold.
I think we paid a very dear price for this COVID.
Having lived through the polio epidemic in the 40s and 50s, Kay felt it was best to trust the scientists. But something was clearly different about this time.
Each time, each day, each week, then it was spreading more and more, and then we were starting to be more concerned about it.
Then COVID arrived on their doorstep.
I know the first day they were talking about a lockdown, and we looked at each other, well, what's a lockdown? What is this going to entail for us,
All of a sudden, the couple had to stay in their room. They couldn't see their children, grandchildren, or great-grandchildren.
The hardest part when we were told that, and I might be a little sensitive right here, that we could not see our family. And to everyone, this was very, very hard.
Kay and Pete tried their best to stay safe, but precautions can only go so far. Both Kay and her husband got the coronavirus.
Pete and I had it really bad. And my husband died from the COVID.
Her best friend and lifelong husband of 57 years was gone.
I think the week after he passed, we were vaccinated here. That's how close he was.
Finally, after such a tough year, things slowly started getting back to normal, and Kay is now able to do one of her favorite things.
I've always been an outdoor person. My dad, oh my gosh, I learned how to fish, how to hunt, swim. In the neighborhood where I grew up, we had everything there.
She tries to get some fresh air every day because it reminds her of the most cherished memories.
There a little bit, and a lot of times, Pete and I used to sit there, but I still go there. And
A week ago, Rennis started to allow visitors in person again, which is one step closer to what Kay wants back the most, seeing friends and family.
I'm hoping that our families can get together soon for holidays, birthdays.
For Newswatch 12, I'm Morgan Johnson. The Lac-View Desert Casino in Watersmeet, Michigan gave away 300 doses of the Moderna coronavirus vaccine today in a first-come, first-served style clinic.
All right, ready? 1, 2.
It was the first of its kind in the region, open to anyone over 18 from anywhere. Ben Meyer drove up from Rhinelander to take full advantage of the rare opportunity.
The truth is, I would have driven from Madison or Milwaukee to be here to get vaccinated, to take advantage of the opportunity that the tribe is giving.
Meyer got a little emotional before he received the vaccine.
As I was standing in line, I almost broke down in tears because I was so happy to have the opportunity to get the vaccine, and just so thankful to the Lac-View Desert tribe and the Lac-View Desert Health Center to provide this opportunity to the general public.
Meyer is one of hundreds to receive the vaccine at the casino today, thanks in part to Dr. Daniel Hadley, who helped coordinate the event. Dr. Hadley said the tribe was allocated doses from the Indian Health Service and started vaccinating its members early, so that now all tribal members and essential workers have been vaccinated.
We've been able to work through those groups of people and get to a point where we're able to offer the vaccine to the general public.
And this is just the first event. There will likely be 2 more vaccination clinics coming up, but the details have not officially been announced.
We're just thankful to be a part of what hopefully is a solution and a return to a more normal way of life.
At the same time, Meyer was happy to play his part in hopes of slowing the spread of the virus.
The only way that I see that our region and our state and our country is going to get through a pandemic like this is for a huge number of people to get vaccinated, and for a huge number of people to take advantage of opportunities like this.
Now, for the people who did get the vaccine today, they'll be back in the same spot in about 4 weeks to get their second round of the vaccine. But for now, reporting in Watersmeet, Morgan Johnson, Newswatch 12.